Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: Redditors who were born at a very young age. What is your story? Not me personally, but a friend of mine was born on his birthday. Is he okay? Any lasting trauma? No, he's completely normal. You'd never know he was any different from you or me. I remember when I was applying for a job as a fashion editor, they asked me what made me get into fashion. I didn't know what to say, so I said I've been putting on clothes since I can remember. Both the interviewer and I started cracking up. I got that job. Lol, that's hilarious. Trying to answer that question in a serious way felt very Zoolader. To be honest with you, it was pretty rough. I couldn't talk, so I had a real tough time expressing myself. It got so frustrating I'd just cry and cry. Sometimes my mom or dad would be there for me, then they'd cover their face and completely disappear from my world. Also, I could not stop pooping myself, so no one respected me, consequently they kept treating me like a baby. I'm so sorry about that experience. Seriously, it made me tear up just reading your story. Hopefully, that mental trauma didn't follow you your entire life. You'll be in my prayers tonight. I happened to be born extremely young. In fact, I also happen to have been the youngest person on the planet, even if only for a very short period of time, presumably. We should all get a Guinness World Record for having been the youngest person at one point. I'm picturing a bunch of Guinness officials standing in delivery rooms all over the world handing out certificates for the world's youngest person and then immediately invalidating them. I was born naked. That's so embarrassing. I don't wanna brag or anything, but I've seen a pussy right after I was born. Not another one since that though. I was so shocked, I couldn't speak for a year. Well, same, but I was also so shocked I couldn't walk for 8 months. I was mad that they shocked me, so I refused to eat with a fork and a knife for the first few years. Also, for some reason the doctor immediately slapped my ass when I came out. Still don't know what I did wrong. 8 months. You were lucky. I didn't walk until I was 15 months old. Then I got over it and discovered the joys of running. After I was born I started to age quickly, with about 1 second per second. Every 60 seconds in Africa a minute passes. A maniac in blue clothes pulled me off and slapped me. Interesting. So tell us, what happened when you were born? Nice. Right after my birth I slowly started dying. Dag dude, that sucks. You create more cells than cells that are dying until about age 23-ish, at which point more cells die than are created. So, you don't actually start dying until you're an adult. Yari, I guess. Plus, till I'm 24 and this made me sad. It all started on the day of my birth. My parents did show up. Doofus Commerceval Inc. copyright. How totally unexpected. And by unexpected I mean completely expected. When my mother was pregnant with me, they did an ultrasound and found she was having twins. When they did another ultrasound a few weeks later, they discovered that I had adsorbed the other fetus. Do I regret this? No, I believe his tissue has made me stronger. I now have the strength of a grown man and a little baby. Twigged. Twit is spelled with an H. Edit: oh, I forgot the episode you all got this spelling from, sorry. Threat level midnight, where Michael uses search and replace to bulk change everyone else's names so they don't know the characters are actually about them, but since he misspells Twit's name as Twigged, his is left in. Clearly I was very sick, I mean, I was born in hospital. Damn man, I hope you are better now. I, too, hope he is better. To be honest, I've suppressed nearly every memory of the early period. But my parents tell me I avoided most activities, refused to speak, and spent much of my time crying. Big deal, I do that now. I was born at a very young age, the youngest age anyone has seen. People say it was the greatest, youngest birth ever. It was young and beautiful. Great age. Tremendous age. And you know, a lot of people have ages. My people told me these people, many people have ages. But we have such great ages, folks, I'll tell ya. But no one had such a young age. The doctors, they said, we've never seen such a young age. Many doctors told me this. The youngest age, possibly ever. Joe Biden could never be born at such an age. Joe Biden, when he was born he turned 40. And maybe even older than that. I don't know, maybe even older than that. And you know, I have never looked better. Believe me. I was born at an extremely young age. Then it went downhill from there. The first 10 million years were the worst, and the second 10 million years, they were the worst too. The third 10 million I didn't enjoy at all. After that I went into a bit of a decline. I'm sorry to hear that, Marvin. How is the pain in the diodes down the left side? I was born at 0 years old. Beat that. Wait, you were born when you were 0, too. I thought I was the only one. Hey. Maybe it's just rare, not totally unique. If it's just the two of us, we need to write a book, there could be big money in this. Don't remind me. It was a very difficult time of my life and thus I am trying to get over it. Edit, some people are telling / messaging me that they are sorry and I really appreciate that, but my answer is a joke just like the question. Yes. This post should contain a trigger warning. My apologies. This question and all these comments have me over here giggling to myself. Glad I was able to make a few PPL laugh. You are a good man, thank you. Not sure if this counts, but at age 6 I was born without a face. I was born with a full head of teeth. Chomp. I was a 16-pound baby. My mom carried me to full term, plus 8 months. I was born at 17 months. Oh yeah. Well, I came out the pussy drawing Mozart. While I get this is supposed to be a funny one, I actually was born at a very young age, 3 months premature. In 1987, a 3-month premature baby was a pretty dicey situation. My parents allowed the doctors to do some lung treatments that at the time were still very new. I spent a long time in an incubator and had a feeding tube. The scar makes it look like I have 2 belly buttons, which I used to think was super neat when I was a kid. All in all, I turned out fine. I have 2 kids of my own who were born healthy and on time. I guess I just wanted to share my somewhat serious story on this otherwise light-hearted thread just in case any other parents of preemies happen to read. Even if your baby is born at a very young age, there is hope that everything can be okay. I'm glad you're around, since there was a good chance back then that you wouldn't make it very far. I had a roommate who was also born 3 months premature in 1961. Her survival was a real miracle back then. I was unfortunate enough to be born on my birth date. My mom didn't show up, and I was very, very small. I was born at a very young age. This is where you cry, but there's a twist. My mom gave birth to me instead of my dad. After all that, why would your mom give birth to your dad? She still hasn't explained it to me yet. In my case, I was born in the hospital so that I could be near my mom. Same seas. Also nice of the employees to place you close to your mom so you wouldn't miss each other. I know a guy who was actually born 4 years before he was born. Luxury. Back home in Yorkshire, you had to work 17 shifts a day down T-mill for 20 years before you could even consider thinking about by-born, and since folk had kids young back then, it were your grandparents what had to do T-pla because your parents, not yet have been born themselves, were already 18 year into their own pre-birth 17 shift a day slog in T-mill. And if you tell kids that today they won't believe you. It was very sad. Both of my parents failed to show up for my birth. That is one of the best moments of P&F. Yeah, one of my favorite shows growing up. My second favorite show was Courage the Cowardly Dog. Doofus Qumert's Evil Incorporated. A Platypus. Perry the Platypus. If I could, I would give you an award. I'm dying over this, Almeo. You saying that is enough. I guess the real story is the friends we made along the way. I legit was born 7 months into the pregnancy, so beat that Reddit. 6 months for me. It was very stressful for my parents. I am not proud. D. How could you do that to them, you little jerk? The Precambrian was a time of experimentation. I was born with 7 eyes, 2 noses, and lip tentacles. Mom was quite upset and screamed. Or I think she would have, but she had no mouth. It all started when I was born. My parents told me that when I was born I misbehaved so badly that the doctor spanked me. Hello, Benjamin Button. It's one of the very first things I did, being born. And as such, I didn't have much experience at it. There were a whole lot of large people there I'd never met, and I had no clothes that fit. That said, I did well enough that I'm still here and haven't needed to be born again. In fact, as age goes, I've held a personal record for days old literally every day since then. I learned a lot in those early days. Screaming doesn't always get you what you want. Moms and dads are pretty awesome. Being allowed to sleep 20 hours a day doesn't last forever. I was born at a very young age. I was birthed from my mother's vagina and my dad was there to watch. They named me after a movie. As I grew up, I learned a lot of things. I learned how to walk, to talk, to not eat chalk. I learned how to spell, to rant, to not shit in my pants. I learned my 1 2 3's, my ABCs. Life looked quite alright. But then, horror struck. I realized my pages existed, and it felt good touching it. I started jacking off, and it spiraled from there. Now I'm a 14-year-old dude, which includes jacking off as a daily routine. Life, contrary to everyone else's, has been going smoothly. I've got friends and family, heck I got my own chocolate bar. This is my story. They named me after a movie. How are you doing, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines?